welcome back, everyone. We are live. Welcome. It is Sunday afternoon. Great to have you on today's live stream, folks. We have some breaking news to cover. This is huge developments in the midterm elections. We finally have some results and can report some news, folks. The landscape of the country, I think, has officially shifted, and when you really study these results, I think they're monumental, and it was really a huge indictment of the Republican Party. So we're going to be discussing everything that we know so far, but let's get started in just a moment here. If you guys can hear me, number one, give this video a tremendous thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, we have some people hopping on. And folks, if you can hear me, let me know where you're tuning in from, city, state, location, whatever you want to tell us. Definitely let me know in the live chat there, and we will kick this off. I will say something in the chat. All right. All right, there we go. YouTube algorithm kicking in now. We have a lot of people hopping on. Welcome back, everyone. It is Sunday afternoon. So great to have you on. So again, we're talking the election in this live stream. That is what we're going to be discussing, and the results that we know so far, what the country is shaping up to be, and who exactly has gained control and will maintain control of the Congress. That is everything we are discussing in this live stream. So folks, if you're brand new here, number one, give this video a tremendous thumbs up, smash the like button. I would appreciate that. Also make sure that you are subscribed, so have those notifications turned on and make sure you are subscribed. So important. We are inching away, or closer to rather, 20,000 subscribers. That is the magic number where we will do a massive cash giveaway where we give away double the amount of cash that we gave away at 10,000 subscribers. So make sure that you are subscribed if you haven't already. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep commenting on the videos, keep engaging with them. I appreciate that so much. So close to 20,000. I thank you all. Thank you so much for your support. So without further ado, let's get started and get right down to it. So the fact is, folks, like we talked about in our early projections and predictions, is that the Republican Party is discouraged. They are upset. In fact, in some cases, they are furious with the results of this midterm election. Republican Party and red states and red-leaning voters, were expecting a red wave. They were expecting the Republicans to completely show a sign of total rejection and rebuke of the current administration and how it is currently being run. Mostly a commentary on the economy, obviously having to do with gas prices, inflation, and then in some cases, crime across the nation. That is basically the platform in which Republicans ran their campaign, right? It was a commentary on the Democratic Party and why you should not vote for them. But fact is, folks, is that Republicans did not really have a platform of their own. Mostly, for the most part, a lot of these Republican candidates were election deniers. They denied the results of 2020, and that is what, for a lot of people, turned them off and led to their downfall. It was really the election deniers versus Democrats. It wasn't really, some sort of a new idea or a new generation of Republicans, and why more so Gen Z and millennials should go the Republican route because they have this new platform and new rebranding. That was not necessarily what this election looked like. It was mostly just pointing the finger at the Democrats and blaming them for all of your problems and, mostly, for the most part, the economy, right? But it failed, and Republicans, unfortunately, did not meet the expectations that they were hoping for. And Democrats, it was really a blue wave. If you look at it, Democrats really were victorious and triumphant in these midterm elections. And I think even a lot of Democrats were surprised at how many seats they either picked up, maintained, or flipped. I think Democrats were shocked to see how well they did this midterm election in 2022. So Republicans, truthfully, would have to rebrand. They'd have to build something new after they failed to take this majority in the U.S. Senate. And they'd have to meet general expectations for 2022 midterm elections, one of the party's younger members said. So on Saturday, shortly after Democrats picked up that key victory in Nevada, so yes, Democrats have now maintained control of the Senate, and the incumbent Democrat Senator Catherine Cortez Masto defeated Republican challenger Adam Laxalt. And Republican Senator Josh Hawley then took to Twitter to say the Republican Party is, quote, dead. That is one of the Republicans' top names, Josh Hawley. And he even, sometimes tries to reach across the aisle, but he was involved in a lot of those conspiracies and election fraud conspiracies that the Republican Party has basically based their entire platform on now. So Josh Hawley is definitely a controversial name in the Senate. And he himself said that the Republican Party is dead. He said the old party is dead. Time to bury it. Build something new, according to Josh Hawley. Now, that could be insidious and could be a disguise for basically saying we have to move on from Trump and basically kick him to the side, as well as some of Trump's friends. The 42-year-old Missouri Republican is among a younger group of the Senate Republicans who have expressed reservations for or straight opposition to current Republican Senate leader Mitch McConnell, who is 82 years old. Hawley has been vocally critical of the Republican Party after they failed to win in Pennsylvania, where Republican Dr. Mehmet Oz fell short of defeating Senator-elect John Fetterman, and in Arizona, where Senator Mark Kelly fended off Republican hopeful Blake Masters. Hawley said, you can't expect independent voters to vote Republican unless you give them an agenda that they care about. And it's so true, right? I mean, what exactly did the Republican Party campaign on? What was their shtick? What was their narrative in 2022? I mean, for the most part, if you watch any of these Republican ads, now obviously, this is the same case every year, every election, right? But for the most part, what could you actually say that Republicans accomplished in these last couple of years? What pieces of legislation have they passed? Yes, they were bipartisan in a lot of the COVID stimulus packages, right? So, especially like the CARES Act, they voted overwhelmingly for. Little opposition there, but obviously as the time went on and the months kept going and more stimulus packages came out, there was more Republican opposition and they opposed more government spending. And that is where we are today. So the day before, Hawley said that Republican machine lost big in the midterms and said that their legislative priorities were not being supported by the American people. He said Washington Republicanism lost big Tuesday night when your agenda is to cave to Big Pharma on insulin, cave to Schumer on gun control and Green New Deal infrastructure, and tease changes to Social Security and Medicare, you lose. So that's interesting how Josh Hawley pointed out how, basically trying to revamp Social Security and Medicare and flirting with that idea and flirting with legislation surrounding those topics, that was probably a huge turnoff especially for older voters who might have traditionally voted Republican. They might have went the other way, scared and fearful that Republicans were going to start trying to strip down that program and start cutting spending for it and making it discretionary, as a lot of these prominent Republicans have suggested. Now, he also suggested that Republicans failed to present their own ideas and initiatives to voters and only pointed to failures of the Democratic Party. That's exactly what we said, folks, and Josh Hawley is echoing that same sentiment. He said, not enough to say the other side is no good. Have to offer an actual agenda. Hawley was also among a group of Republicans joined by Senators Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Rick Scott, and Cynthia Lummis, who urged the Senate to postpone its leadership election until after the Georgia runoff election with Republican Herschel Walker and Democrat Raphael Warnock. He said the Senate GOP leadership vote next week should be postponed, according to Rubio. And he added, first, we need to make sure that those who want to lead us are genuinely committed to fighting for the priorities and values of working Americans of every background who gave us big wins in a state like Florida. Hawley did agree with that. He said, exactly right. I don't know why Senate GOP would hold a leadership vote for next Congress before this election is finished. We have a runoff in Georgia Senate. Are they saying that doesn't matter? Don't disenfranchise. Several other Republicans, notably including former President Trump, have expressed frustration with McConnell following Tuesday's election results. Trump even took to social media, not Twitter, but Truth Social. He said, quote, he is the worst, all caps worst. And despite calls for a postponement, a Senate GOP aide confirmed that the leadership elections will go ahead as planned. So that's more so, what we're hearing from the Republican side and the sentiment there. Certainly, they are not happy. They are extremely upset with these results and what actually went down with these midterm elections. I think it went totally the opposite direction that they thought it was going to be. And I think even the early exit polls and polling data also did not represent correctly what these results actually were. I think it was just way below expectations and hopes. I think Republicans thought it was going to be a lot more tighter, a lot closer of an election. So again, election deniers, they sought to become the top election official in a critical battleground state loss at the polls this year. Voters roundly rejected the extreme partisans who promised to restrict voting and overhaul the electoral process. The national repudiation of this coalition reached its apex on Saturday when Cisco Aguilar, the Democratic candidate for Secretary of State in Nevada, defeated Jim Marchant, according to the Associated Press. And Mr. Marchant, who is the Republican nominee, had helped organize a national right-wing slate of candidates under the name America First. So he lost to Mr. Aguilar, and all but one of those America First candidates were also defeated. Only Diego Morales, a Republican in deep red Indiana, was successful, while candidates in Michigan, Arizona, and New Mexico were indeed defeated. Their losses halted a plan by some allies of former President Trump and other influential donors to take over the election apparatus in critical states before the 2024 presidential election. The America First candidates and their explicitly partisan statements had alarmed Democrats, independent election experts, and even some Republicans who feared that if they gained office, they could threaten the integrity of future elections. So the election was on the line, basically, democracy itself, and Joe Biden campaigned fervently about that. He basically said that if you want to vote for democracy, vote for Democrats. He said that if you want to keep our democracy in place and its sacrosanct attributes and why it's so precious, you got to vote for Democrats. And if you want the opposite, if you want this country to be run in a different manner and basically have no structure and no democracy, then vote Republicans. And that is what Joe Biden and a lot of the other Democrats echoed during this season. That was certainly on the ballot as well. So this was definitely an interesting election. It was critical, right? If it went the other way and Republicans did take control, I think we would see, unfortunately, a lot of concern and a lot of reason to be concerned if Republicans did take control of both chambers. That did not happen. But if that did take place, folks, I think you would see no legislation. You'd see absolute gridlock for the next 2 years. I don't think you would have seen any progress whatsoever. Republicans would have not been able to work with the president at all. Neither side would have caved in, and it basically would have been Biden versus the Congress. That's what we would have seen take place. We would have gotten done nothing, and nothing would have passed. I don't think you literally would have had any bipartisan matters, if Republicans were to take control of both chambers. So that is what happened, guys. Senate is being controlled by the Democrats. After that Nevada election was called, they have maintained control and are the Senate majority. In the Congress, or rather in the House, there are still a lot of races that are unknown, but it is looking like Republicans will win that. So we'll have to see what happens there, but more elections are still yet to be called and still too close to project. So guys, with that being said, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What do you think about this season and this 2022 midterm election round? Do you think that it went as planned? Do you think Republicans actually maybe secretly thought that they were going to lose and maybe were just saying that they're hopeful for massive victories? What do you think actually was going down behind the scenes, and what do you think will take place in 2024? Do you think that this means that Democrats are pretty poised to keep control of the White House? Or do you think we could see a red wave still come through come 2024 at the presidential level? So how do you guys think this is going to affect the presidential election in 2024? What do you think the future of this country will look like? What do you think is going to happen? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, as well as the live chat if you're watching live. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, smash the like button. I'd appreciate that. Make sure you are subscribed and notifications turned on. I'd appreciate that. If you want to get some free stocks, all meal free, use the links down below in the description. and you sign up with the brokerage platforms or Robinhood and or Webull, you'll get some free stocks, some valued to thousands of dollars in some cases. So let us know what stocks you get. And if you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Instagram, I am on Facebook, I'm on TikTok. Use the social links down below. I look forward to meeting you there, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.